fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way, and I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
The problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money.
Terence Crawford lashed out at Floyd Mayweather after sparring footage between them was leaked. He said he felt let down by Floyd's actions and expected more respect from someone who claimed to be close to him. Crawford expressed his disappointment, stressing that private training moments should have never been made public, especially by another champion.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And, when the Errol Spence fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way, and I just don't agree with the character, actions that he took.
Eddie Hearn's recent comments about Terence Crawford stirred debate in the boxing world. Hearn suggested that Crawford could retire now, with his legacy secure. After all, Crawford has already ruled multiple weight classes, beaten top fighters, and proven himself as one of the all-time greats. Retiring at this high point would leave his image untouchable, just like other legendary champions who walked away on top. At the same time, Hearn admitted that today's boxing is shaped by massive Saudi investment and big money spectacles. That means Crawford could still earn record-breaking paydays, even if the fights don't add to his legacy. For Hearn, it's a tough balance, protecting legacy versus chasing financial rewards, and as a promoter, he understands the pull of both sides better than most.
Sorry?
Should Crawford retire?
Do you know what? Someone said the other day, and it's very true, because I actually said it about Usyk. We've got a real tendency, haven't we, to kind of try and retire people off. Do you know what I mean? Like I said with Usyk, I think now he should retire. And everyone's like, why do you want him to retire? It's like, I just think it's a great way to go out. I actually also think that Crawford could move down and win a world title at 160. And that would make him, what, 6 division champ? 5, 35, 40, 47, 54, 6 division champion. But the problem is Terence Crawford now is really only going to want to fight for big money, and there's only certain fights that can generate that kind of money. So Shakur, he was obviously very close to him, seemed to say, so maybe that's it.
Floyd Schofield believes Terence Crawford should consider retiring while on top. In his eyes, Crawford has already achieved everything that defines true greatness, becoming pound-for-pound king, winning titles in multiple divisions, and proving himself against the best of his era. Schofield isn't questioning Crawford's talent or legacy, but he warns that fighting on could bring unnecessary risk. If Crawford does step into the ring again, Schofield feels it should only be against young, hungry contenders like Virgil Ortiz or Frank Martin. That, he says, would reflect a generational shift, with rising stars testing themselves against a legend. Still, Schofield's message is full of respect. He believes Crawford has nothing left to prove and that walking away now would preserve his perfect legacy at its very peak.
So, I feel like Crawford, he could retire if he wants. I feel like if he does get another fight, I would love to see him in there with Virgil or Duran. I feel like those are both great fights, but those are fights we just gotta see. We just gotta see those fights before. I feel like those are the only 2 fights I would entertain.
Not a rematch, maybe a rematch with Crawford and Canelo.
I feel like it wasn't close enough. If it was close, maybe, but it just was like, it wasn't close.
The idea of Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford facing each other continues to fuel heated debates among boxing fans. Online discussions often focus on the fantasy of seeing both men in their prime, since each defined excellence in his own era. Mayweather's defensive brilliance and unmatched ring intelligence made him nearly impossible to hit, while Crawford's versatility and killer instinct have allowed him to dominate every opponent, but the reality is different. Mayweather is no longer in his prime and doesn't have the same speed or stamina he once did. A fight today would be more about spectacle than competition. That's why so many fans agree, the dream of Mayweather and Crawford clashing at their peak will stay a dream.
So yeah, everybody, so this is a good question that the ring put out. So Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather. a fantasy fight that will never happen? Now, this is a really good question. Who will win between these two? Me personally, if this was old Floyd Mayweather, well, I'm going to say Pretty Boy Floyd, I'm talking about like the younger version of Floyd Mayweather wins. You're talking probably prime Floyd Mayweather versus prime Terence Crawford. You could see Floyd Mayweather beating Terence Crawford, but you're talking about money Floyd versus Terence Crawford. I see Terence Crawford stopping him in the later rounds due to Floyd Mayweather's passive style and Philly shell. I believe he'll melt. Terence Crawford would just break him, I think. People forget what Manny Pacquiao was able to do on Floyd Mayweather, have success with him certain parts of the fight, and people just need to see, Floyd Mayweather's, I would say, fights, later down the years. I think Crawford would just be able to break that defense. I don't know. The thing is about Terence Crawford, he has a very, very awkward style, very awkward foot movement and footwork. This is the thing. A lot of people were thinking, no, nobody beats Floyd. Or if you try to compare somebody else, no, this man will beat Floyd. Floyd would beat everybody. I don't think it's a case of Terence Crawford, everybody. I think Terence Crawford would have been the man to actually beat Floyd. Honestly, for what he did to Canelo Alvarez, he beat a 168 Canelo Alvarez. 168 Canelo Alvarez.